Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new Ninjago video here on the channel. My name is TannerFishies. In today's video, we are going to be reviewing Volume 4 of Spinjitzu Brothers entitled The Chroma's Clutches. In case you guys don't know what Spinjitzu Brothers is, let me just give you guys a very quick recap. Spinjitzu Brothers is a series of books that follows a young Wu and a young Garmadon throughout their quest to find a cure for Garmadon's Great Devourer bite. The story is indeed canon, taking place years before the pilots happen, and I've reviewed the other 3 volumes of this series on this channel before. I love reading these stories and I love the idea of a canon prequel set years before the events of the pilots. Like I said though, for today's video, I want to give my thoughts on Volume 4 of this series entitled The Chroma's Clutches. We will be discussing spoilers in today's video, so if you've not yet read this book or any of the other Spinjitzu Brothers books, I'd recommend reading them before you watch this video. Like I said, the books are pretty easy to find online and in physical bookstores, so feel free to read them if you guys have the time or the funds to do so. So diving on into Spinjitzu Brothers Volume 4, The Chroma's Clutches, we see Wu and Garmadon continuing their quest and once again coming across something weird in Ninjago that takes them away from the main quest, and once again an adventure ensues. This time the premise of the book features Wu and Garmadon meeting a girl named Perry and her strange monkey-dog hybrid creature thing. Not really sure what it's supposed to be, but it's some type of blend of both of those animals, or maybe even several other things as well. However, during their time of visiting this young girl Perry and her strange monkey-dog thing, the Spinjitzu Brothers realize that there's more to this girl and this storyline than it seems, and they find themselves traveling inside actual paintings to rescue the girl's family and stop an evil being known as the Chroma. And in terms of a premise, I really like this storyline. However, it does have some twists and turns that I'm not a huge fan of. We'll get to those here in a second. I loved seeing the continued characterization of both Wu and Garmadon, especially in terms of the paranoia. This is something that I've been talking about quite a bit throughout my Spinjitzu Brothers reviews, but I love how paranoid these two characters are. They're constantly trying to find the cure, but neither really knows what to expect next. Every step of the way is built on the idea that Garmadon could literally snap at any moment, and the tension and the paranoia is really strong throughout this book as well, much like the other 3 Spinjitzu Brothers books. Wu and Garmadon's relationship dwindles throughout the entire Spinjitzu Brothers series, and I loved seeing how these characters handle those feelings of tension and peril and just pure helplessness. Like I said though, the Spinjitzu Brothers meet this girl named Perry, and she's living in the mountains above Ninjago, and she's a painter. The feeling of paranoia continues with this character as well, because they're convinced that something weird is going on here. Something isn't quite right with this girl, nor is something quite right with this entire situation. As a reader, the uneasy feeling of paranoia sets in with a creepy atmosphere surrounding the entire character of Perry and her entire situation. I really enjoyed the build-up of Garmadon and Wu discovering what's wrong with this character, what exactly her goals are, what her intentions are, and the descriptive nature of the writing itself in this storyline allows the audiences to feel those same feelings. Garmadon hears strange howls at night, they see creepy imagery on the walls. I can only imagine if this was animated how creepy and scary this would be, and I will say this series does an incredible job at building up that creepy and unsettling feel. However, after the mystery is eventually solved, I will say the book kind of lessens in terms of quality for me. I'm not saying it's bad per se, because there's certainly some good things about the rest of this storyline after the big reveal, but it's just not what I was really expecting, and it kind of caught me off guard a little bit. Again, not saying that's a bad thing, it's just not what I was looking forward to. From what I can understand from reading the book, Perry's father could animate things using his paintings, and Perry herself has a similar ability to trap people inside paintings to fight the Chroma, which is one of her father's inventions. One of his more unsettling creations, if you will. Perry's whole deal is that she wants to get her family out of the painting after they've been trapped there for quite some time, and to do so, she keeps on trapping people inside the painting, hoping that one of them will eventually defeat the Chroma and save her family. As such, she traps Wu and Garmadon inside the painting as well, and they need to fight the Chroma to break out themselves and her family. The reveal itself was totally fine, the rest of the book is totally okay, it's just not as great as that build-up was. The Chroma is definitely a scary villain though, but I was more creeped out by the Disney-esque characters and all of the weird imagery taking place inside this painting world. Like I said though, the setup of the storyline had more going on than the payoff, I'd say. I also loved the themes of family going on here. The Spinjitzu Brothers spend the entire storyline trying to reunite this family. At the same time though, they're putting off their own quest even further, therefore letting Garmadon fall more and more, because every minute not spent trying to find the cure for the Great Devourer bite is another minute where Garmadon falls closer to the path of evil, a path that we ultimately know is coming for him at the very end of this story. But eventually they do manage to rescue the family, that's all fine and dandy. I think those feelings of sacrifice and that sense of family is played really well in this novel, and it's easily one of the strongest parts of the entire narrative here. In terms of villains, we have the Chroma being the main bad guy of this entire situation. I guess you could kind of count Perry as a villain, but she's not really evil per se. She's just kind of tricking Wu and Garmadon into doing something for her, which isn't great still, but it's certainly not evil or villainous. But in terms of the Chroma's an okay villain. Probably the weakest of these Spinjitzu Brothers villains that we've seen so far. I mean, it's certainly not as strong as Ninjago or Tannerbrax from the other volumes, but still, the Chroma is pretty scary. It still is a pretty significant threat, and I love how it speaks to Garmadon Garmadon and tries to connect with his evil side over and over again, and it seems to be a common theme throughout this entire series. Again though, that just goes to showcase just how weak Garmadon is and how far he's fallen. Also in terms of strengths here, like the other Spinjitzu brothers stories so far, the artwork is fantastic, there are pictures every now and then throughout the entire novel, and again, the visual aspects here, along with every other book in the series, is just breathtaking to look at. And also character development, character growth, and understanding who these characters are. Like the other books in the series, Wu and Garmadon are portrayed really well here. You can feel that they are the same Wu and Garmadon from the show, just younger and a little bit more inexperienced. I still love the characterization going on here though, and I love the villain overall. The villain itself isn't as strong as some other villains though, that's for sure. But overall, this book continues the trend of the other Spinjitzu brothers books as being something special and something worth reading. I can't really find anything necessarily bad about this book to complain about. I will say though, the book is probably my least favorite of the entire Spinjitzu brothers catalog so far. It still is strong in many ways, but it also has several weak aspects as well, including one of the weaker villains of this entire series, and I'd say the story direction wasn't really my favorite either. But overall, I would still recommend this book as well as the other volumes in this series. I totally think they are worth reading still. And in terms of a score for Spinjitzu brothers Volume 4, the Chroma's Clutches, I would give it maybe an 8 out of 10. I think that's a fair score. Still fantastic overall, still a great read all things considered, just with a couple of minor things that kept the storyline from being perfect. And also, this could be the very last Spinjitzu brothers book, though I hope it's not. I think the storyline has a lot of potential to go even further and into more volumes and more stories. But there are no other books listed as of the time of recording this video in this series, so maybe this is the end. I hope it's not though, because the story deserves to continue, and I hope it does. I love the idea of a Ninjago prequel. I think this series has been awesome so far, including this one right here, and once again, I just love the idea of a prequel Ninjago story following a younger Wu and a younger Garmadon. I hope this series shines into the future because it definitely deserves to. And once again, I would recommend reading these books if you guys have not done so just yet. With that being said though, that'll pretty much wrap it up for my review here today. Thank you all so much for listening. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's review, and let me know what you thought about the book down below in the comment section. Would you like to see any of these ideas translate into the Ninjago show itself? And even though I hope this isn't the end for Spinjitzu brothers, it very well could be, so if this is going to be the last volume that we ever get for Spinjitzu brothers, feel free to rank all 4 volumes down below in the comment section. I will probably be doing another video in the future ranking these books even further, giving my thoughts on them even more, but as of right now, in terms of best to worst, I'd say maybe the series would go 3, 1, 2, and then 4. Again though, all of these books are good, and once again, for a final time, I would totally recommend reading them. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys again later. Peace.